Hello and welcome to the program which looks at the Holy Land. I am Paul Calvert. Psalm 122 verse 1 and 2 from the New King James Bible says this: I was glad when they said to me, let us go into the house of the Lord. Our feet have been standing within your gates, O Jerusalem. I'm with Peter Fast from Bridges for Peace, and we're talking about the fact that Israel has been bombing Iran's nuclear program, and America has just joined in and bombed the underground nuclear bunker. Was Trump right to deal with Iran?
Absolutely. You know, this isn't just a Donald Trump situation. The world has seen a growing threat, and many have either ignored it or they believe that they could negotiate or sanction and bring, it's almost like treating Iran like it could become reasonable. And this growing threat has been since 1979. The Shah of Iran was toppled in 1979. The Ayatollah regime, Khomeini, came in and seized control of Iran. What often the West ignores is that they literally cleansed the Iranian government and the entire military at the time. They murdered, the new Iranian regime murdered hundreds of thousands of Iranians. And then they have persecuted women and all other minority groups, Christians included, in Iran since 1979, and they've never hidden their agenda. Death to America and death to Israel and death to the free world. That has been a thing since 1979, images of burning American and Israeli flags, walking on them, marching them, claiming that what Hitler did was right, imagining a world without Zionism, without Israel, the annihilation of the Jewish state, and so on and so forth. And the Iranian diaspora, we have millions of Iranians that live outside of Iran, and countless testimonies of people telling us what life was like prior to the Iranian regime, the takeover, and what life is like now, and the jeopardy that people's lives have been placed in under this Ayatollah regime. So all the evidence has been there. I was here in 2004, Paul, and that was when Mahmoud Ahmadinejad declared that Iran would start its nuclear program, and creating intercontinental ballistic missiles, building nuclear sites into mountains. Like, you don't do that if this is peaceful civilian nuclear energy. The Iraq-Iranian war, when you look at the intent of the Iranian regime, the global sponsor of world terror, the proxies like Hezbollah in Iran and the Houthis, the previous Syrian regime, Iran has never deviated from its agenda and its plans since 1979. So what previous American administrations have done, and even to ignore, and NATO and the European Union and the United Nations, what has previously been discussed from Israeli governments of what to do, all of this has now come to a head where it was the reality of we have to strike these nuclear sites. We're not at war against the Iranian people, but we have to remove Iran's nuclear capability and their military capability to deal war and terror, with the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps being a terror instrument of the regime. So that's what we're seeing right now, is the crippling of these areas to wage terror war against the world.
Is Iran a threat to Israel? And some people will maybe say, yeah, but now Israel is being a threat to the world. They're the ones that are causing trouble.
Yeah, no, I think Iran has been and was and still is a threat. It's right now, we're just coming out 24 hours after the U.S. intervention alongside Israel with the U.S. bombing of 3 nuclear hardened sites. What has to be discovered is what is the extent of that damage. Was Iran able to remove uranium stockpile and missile stockpiles prior to those strikes? And if they were able to move, how much did they remove? And then are they still able, if they took things out, are they still able to be a threat? The Ayatollah regime is not surrendering. They still continue to fire ballistic missiles. And we can't forget that last year, Iran, on 2 occasions, sent ballistic missile, cruise missile, and drone attacks against Israel directly, and then have been attacking Israel through their proxies. So, we can't split hairs about this. Israel has been at war with Iran since 1979, almost like in the shadows. And then certainly with the nuclear program, there is a state of war that Israel has been at, and that's just been increasing and escalating through time. And so Israel, once again, does not want to see Iran as a nation totally destroyed. There is no intent. Israel has one of the strongest militaries in the Middle East. And it's there are some people also that speculate, although Israel has never officially said that they are a nuclear power, people speculate they are a nuclear power, although Israel denies that, whatever. I'll leave that to the Israeli government. But at the end of the day, Paul, if Israel's war was against Iran and the Iranian people, Israel possesses the power that they could completely destroy Iran. And we would be seeing that. But what are we seeing? Israel striking military sites, nuclear sites, and completely ignoring civilian infrastructure, utilities, civilized populations, dense civilian areas. They're not striking those at all. So what we have is an intact Iranian civilian infrastructure and population that many of them are actually cheering Israel on. It's incredible. We have seen many videos of everyday Iranians in Tehran and other places cheering as Israeli planes soar overhead to make strikes. So this has to be a front and center argument.
Is the world a safer place today, do you think?
Absolutely. I think in Iran that's not only crippled with its nuclear capabilities, but in Iran where its nuclear capabilities are completely removed, would be a safer place. It's so obvious, and we've always known this. Netanyahu, the current prime minister of Israel, for as long as he's been in power, since Iran declared their race to the bomb, so to speak, we have seen Iran's intent. And Israel has shown evidence to that intent. And the world recognized the evidence to be genuine, but then it's solving the issue. From the Obama administration to then Trump to Biden to back to Trump. How do you solve this issue? And for many, it was sanctions, and then others, it was terrible deals and giving hundreds of billions of dollars back to Iran. And so now Trump has stood up and I believe, and this is my opinion, done what is necessary in joining Israel to stop Iran's nuclear capability, which will make the world safer. It doesn't remove other quote-unquote serious villains from the stage, as the world has many concerns of North Korea, Russia, China, and Pakistan, and their intents. But this is a serious regime that basically destabilizes the entire Middle East and is a threat to the West.
Ben Gurion Airport has been closed down, but countries are actually putting on special flights. People are pulling out of Israel. Are you staying? Have you had to pray about that decision as well?
At the end of the day, I don't want to stay to just be a hero. I want to stay because God has me here, and it's very clear. So yeah, I pray about everything. I pray when October 7th happened, I prayed for God to give me courage. And my middle child, she's 8 years old, she just defined courage the other day as when we're afraid, God gives us the strength to be brave. So hopefully you pray the same thing, Paul, and all of us pray that in this time it is serious. However, God gives us the strength to be brave and to endure. I want to be where God wants. So if God very clearly showed to me that I should leave, then I want to humbly submit to that. I don't have any evidence to do so. In fact, it's the complete opposite. So this energizes me, and I feel courage and strength, and I'm equipped. Because this is what Bridges for Peace does. We love on people, we stand with the nation, and we're also, in a way, part of the war effort as a humanitarian organization with food, with clothing, with equipment, with specialized tools, with support to search and rescue, to helping displaced people, trauma care, everything, that we are on the front lines as an organization.
For those who are called to Israel, is this the safest place to be? And do you feel comfortable in that calling?
I feel that if you are called anywhere, that's the safest place to be. So the most terrifying place, I think, would be to be outside God's will. For God to show you something, and I'm not talking about it sometimes takes time and lots of patience and to understand where God is leading us. But I'm saying if God has clearly revealed something, his will to you, where you should be, and you reject that, and say, I'm going to do my own thing, that's a terrifying place to be. And so I believe I'm in God's will. We are in God's will. We are serving each and every day. But people have to pray into that and measure that and listen to that and walk that out in faith as well. And to do what is right because it's right, to seek God's justice and his steadfast love. And if it means that one must be in Israel, then so be it. God will open the door and provide a way. We have still had volunteers coming to Israel throughout this whole war, and they continue to come, despite lots of tours being canceled, and despite nations saying you shouldn't go. And yet I do know that there are people that have told us that they feel that the Lord has shown to them that now is not the time. And I respect that. I'm never going to stand in the way and call someone a coward or you're afraid of this or that. No, the Lord will reveal what the Lord reveals. And if it's his will that people are here to serve, then so be it. But I believe that now is the time to stand in the gap. It doesn't mean you have to be in Israel, but now is the time to stand in the gap and to stand with Israel, because standing with Israel is standing with the people of Israel, the people of this region, the people of Iran, and standing for justice.
We can run away, we can get on an airplane and leave. The people can't run away, so should we as believers stay? Because this is the time that they actually need us the most.
Yeah, that speaks huge volumes. I've had Israelis in tears, and I'm not being dramatic, in tears look at me and say, I cannot believe, like you have, quote unquote, another home. I was born and grew up in Canada. So technically, yes, I could get on a plane, I could get to Canada, and I could live a quiet, comfortable life. I could phone the Canadian embassy and say, I feel like I'm in danger. Help me. Do everything you can. And I hope and pray that Canada would if I was in such a scenario. But for Israelis, this is home. This is where their families have grown up. This is where they have served in the IDF. This is where their businesses are. This is where their grandparents, their cousins, everything. This is life. And the fact that I don't leave shows and demonstrates to them that when I say, look, we stand with you no matter what, we love you no matter what, and then if I leave, what kind of message does that send them? I want to follow the law. I'm going to follow the Ministry of Interior visa regulations and living here as a non-citizen resident here, but to demonstrate that I'm in it, and my family and my children, this is where we are here. We don't feel like we're being reckless or we're not being foolish. But this is where we're serving. This is where we're called. This is home now. And that sends a massive message of love and support to every Israeli that I'm able to convey that to.
What is your prayer for Israel at this time?
My prayer for Israel is that Israelis would feel the presence of God surrounding them, that they would feel peace. And peace isn't, when we say shalom, it's not just the cessation of war or violence. Shalom ultimately is wholeness. Basically, like the presence of God being around us and being in the midst of he's a refuge and a fortress. And so it's terrible what Israelis have had to go through. It's awful what people beyond the borders have had to go through because of war, which disrupts everything, not just loss of life. It disrupts everything. But my prayer is that Israel will feel comforted, will feel loved, will feel secure, and will feel supported by people all around the world as we join them in their just cause and in defending life and preservation and demonstrating that love and walking that out every day.
What's your website for people who'd like to know more about the work that you do?
Bridgesforpeace.com is our website. We're on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. You will see Peel videos because we need donations. We need funding to do the incredible work that we do, the tens of thousands of people that we feed, the trauma care we deliver, the Israelis the Jewish people that we help move to Israel, the first responders that we support, fire and rescue and Magen David Adom, emergency services, displaced people. So you will see all of that in Appeal videos, in videos demonstrating and showing the work we do. We also do educational videos. We write educational materials as well, our Dispatch from Jerusalem, our teaching letter publications. So you'll see all of this on the website. We're in 8 nations around the world. So we have advocacy and education, and we connect Jews and Christians together, and we have volunteer opportunities. And so, yes, that would be where I would recommend to go to and to connect with our organization.
Well, Peter, thank you very much for sharing today.
Blessings, Paul, and shalom. It's always a wonderful thing to connect with you, to talk with you, and be interviewed. Blessings.
Thank you for joining us today. Pray that God will move by his mighty power in the Holy Land and bring his peace.